Yeah, for this week's podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you how I found a deal. Let's call it Juicy Street, 1,000 square meters, and I was able to subdivide it into 5 lots. So for those who are watching this video, we're going to do a bit of a walk past the site, give you some analysis from my point of view. Those who are listening to the podcast, we'll just rip out that audio and give you that analysis so you can visualize what's going on with the deal. It's one of my more exciting deals, simply because cutting it from 1,000 square meters into 5 lots is a bit of a crunch. And not only that, we're able to keep the existing house. The house was left on roughly 300 odd square meters, and the other 4 blocks of land were left on 180 square meters, which isn't very big. But still very, very profitable, and we're able to get in, get out in a period of 12 months. So let's rock. Let's take a quick walk and have a look around. So this is where 2 of the blocks started. So imagine 2 vacant lots. They're 180 odd square meters each. That's the existing house, a brick 2-story, and to retain that house proved a bit of a challenge, simply because the house wasn't positioned ideal. So imagine 2 blocks on one end and another 2 blocks on the other end, with the house kept in the middle. So when I secured the site, this park here was not there, you could say. It was under construction. It was just flat. You couldn't see anything with it. However, I could see a vision that the park was being fixed. If you look into the distance, you could probably see that the park is actually hectares and hectares of beautiful land, which is absolutely gorgeous here. And of a Saturday or Sunday can get very, very busy. So from one end, we're going from one end to the other of the land subdivision, and the 2 blocks facing the park are each 180 square meters. This is the 2 brand new houses that have been built on it. And this street looks nice. This is a lower socioeconomic area. I purchased a site for $535,000 overall, made about 200k profit in a 12-month period. So really pumped about that, and more so pumped that I was able to squeeze the 5th block through, because it looked like a bit of a challenge at one point in time. The legislation in this particular area and zoning, I'm able to create 180 square meter blocks. The fact that it was on the corner was really the clincher here. So let's get back to the car and let's pull it apart, hey? Cool. Let's get back in the aircon. So let's debrief on this deal, hey? So essentially 1,000 odd square meters on a corner block. How did I find it? Why did I decide to buy it? It's really exciting to be able to pull apart deals and look at, from a past point of view, what I did that worked and how I can do it again. I've got a lot of my clients who are mentoring clients who've made many hundreds of thousands. One of my clients made, I think, up to 600,000 doing this strategy, and it's using a corner block strategy. And with the corner block, it is so powerful, because if you think about it, corner block has heaps of frontage. Around the corner there's a site which is similar size to mine, on 2 lots, 1,000 odd square meters, and for about 2 years now they've done nothing. They've knocked down the house and it's just been sitting there vacant. Whereas in a period of 12 months I was able to get in, get out, get paid, and use the velocity of money technique that Robbie Kiyosaki talks about. So from an efficiency point of view, corner blocks are really efficient, and wherever you can, if you are going to do development, it just gives you extra frontage and extra access on being able to get these deals across the line and do other things. So initially when I looked at this deal, being 1,000 square meters on a corner, I thought, keep the house in the middle. It looks reasonably structurally sound, and cut off the couple of blocks on the end. So 1,000, roughly 300 odd square meters, and cut off 300 square meter blocks on each end. So that was the intention anyway. However, didn't quite turn out that way. Like literally the weeks leading up to me buying this property, I had done another deal where it was 500 odd square meters, cut off 340 square meters or so, and keep the house on that, and sell off a vacant block of land 184 square meters. So yeah, my point was that previously I wasn't really sure on what I was going to get for a vacant block of land, 180 square meters, but because literally weeks leading up to buying this 1,000 square meter block, I was able to sell this block of land privately. I sold it myself to a lady who loved the house. She's since moved in and built the house of her dreams on that, or you could say cabin of her dreams on it. And yeah, so it just gave me a real sense of market value, because there's just no comparables in this particular area, or generally for most areas for any land roughly the 200 square meter mark, right? So maybe 300 square meters, maybe 400, maybe 500, yes. As the blocks get bigger, there's more commonly occurring sales, but the really small blocks make it very hard to find comparables, which means that the marketplace doesn't know what to pay. Valuers have issues with it, agents don't know how to sell it as well, and as a result, it can be problematic from a valuer point of view in getting finance. So it's all well and good that someone might want to buy the block of land, but if they can't get finance to it, that can be problematic as well. So yeah, so what's some really good points about the land? Very much flat. I can definitely say that the block is a flat block of land. It was roughly a 1 meter drop over 50 meters, which is, call it 2%. Which is absolutely perfect. Builders absolutely love something like that. 1 to 2% grade doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, it's absolutely smoking hot. So yeah, not only that, yeah, being 1,000 square meters, being flat and 2-street frontage. The other thing that was really nice about it was that all the services were in the right place, with the water flowing to the front of the street. The sewer was in the right place, the water's in the right place. Yeah, we had to extend some of the services up the street, but that didn't matter so much, because we just didn't have to cross the road. It was in front of our site, and the zoning was really flexible. It was actually a higher density zoning, 3-story density zoning, and part of that allowed us for the smaller blocks to subdivide, and being able to do subdivision as opposed to doing 20 apartments. That block would have fit perfectly from a design point of view for 20 apartments, 3 stories, 2-bedders. However, being a low socioeconomic area, the zoning I think was just a bit too far ahead of itself, and we found that making it worthwhile as a land subdivision play. Keep the house, cut the blocks of land off. And it's hard because we always think of development as we have to build something. You've got to build something and get a vacant block of land, got to build a house on it to justify the added value or make it worth more, but not always the case. In this instance, I was able to minimise the amount of contribution in. You got to think about it when you're building apartments, when you're building townhouses, when you're building even houses. After the subdivision process, you got to add more cash, more time, more capital, more debt, more fees and holding costs. So my point there is having a shorter time frame and having to do less things. It meant that I didn't extend those costs, and I got in and got out and got paid. So, and that's the biggest thing I learned about the GFC, is it's about velocity. It's about getting in, getting out, getting paid, and return on your investment. Oftentimes people look at, you can make $100,000, but it might take 10 years to get that $100,000, and it's not even cash. It might be equity, which is fine, but for a 10-year time frame or 5-year time frame to make only 100 grand, you could be using the capital in those properties in many other different ways. So yeah, so we used various means to be able to access the site. Actually, one of the bad things about the site was it was quite flat. We had a few other issues with the site. So one of the downsides of the site was actually had heaps of trees on it. So the first day that we settled it, we cut down all the trees, cleared the site in preparation for lodging the council application. So that's what we did, and council had no issues with that. Paid $535,000 there, and sold the house off, I think, for roughly $350 odd. The rest of the sales of the land were roughly 180k each. So call it 1.1. So paid what, 535,000. There were costs of roughly another 365k, so call it 900k worth of costs all up, including the land, and then sold for about 1.1. So, and that was including GST, holding costs, agent's commission, everything else. So with a 200k profit, really happy with that. Other challenges was definitely selling the land. What I meant by that is, yeah, we had a lot of interest, don't get me wrong, had a lot of interest on the land, but the challenge was that people were just having trouble getting finance. So I think we probably had like half a dozen contracts fall over on the site, which was, yeah, pretty bad. But because we started marketing earlier on, you know, we lodged the DA in May, I think, of that year, or maybe July of that year, and because of what's called the Land Sales Act, with only 5 lots or less, we're able to sign contracts on those properties. So going to market reasonably quickly and getting buyers signed up reasonably quickly with that Land Sales Act, enabling us to sign contracts with buyers before we actually got development approval. It allowed us to test the market and see what the valuations were like, what the challenges were with finance. Yeah, and I reckon we crashed like probably 5 contracts also before we started to figure out how to do this game. So yeah, we figured it out, and then the contract started to stick. The house was being renovated in the meantime, and then it sold, and then enabled us to yeah, get in, get out, get paid. We did have some issues with Christmas. Christmas is always a hard time of year, and with rain during that Christmas time, we had some issues with the civil contractors as well. One guy jumped the gun, and I think he went too early as opposed to waiting for other civil contractors to finish their job, and therefore someone had to come in and redo, I think it was the telecommunications, so it cost me an extra $3,000 to reinstall the telecommunications, not once but twice, because someone had run over and damaged the yeah, the services that are already installed. So yeah, so at some stage, probably in another podcast, I'll talk about, you know, how I did it, no money down. But yeah, that's the crux of it, paying $535, getting in, getting out, getting paid. Yeah, none of the houses were actually built by myself. We kept the existing house, sold the vacant land, but yeah, other people settled their blocks of land through purchase and then built their houses themselves, which removed the headache for me, and I was already on holidays. So gotta love it. Till this next episode, hopefully you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, just punch them through on the bottom there, and yeah, we'll cover them at another stage. Hopefully, yeah, you've enjoyed it. Yeah, talk to you soon. Nhan Nguyen for Advanced Property Strategies. Catch you later. See ya.